without further ado, we're welcoming Dr. Sam Kazibwe to also share with us and give us insight on how best we can prepare ourselves for this new and familiar environment, and yet at the end of the day, we can thrive. Dr. Sam, you can please take the floor. We're happy to hear from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me this afternoon, and warm greetings to everyone watching us. I'm pleased to be part of this discussion, especially at this time when the industry is facing quite a number of unique challenges. But even before we talk about the current challenges occasioned by the pandemic, the media world, locally, regionally, and globally, was already facing a myriad of challenges. Some of those challenges were political, others are economical, while others are technological, especially if we pay attention to the changes in the technology, talking about social media, where everybody today now is a content producer and content publisher. So that paradigm shift certainly brought a number of challenges in the industry. And beyond the technological challenges, we can also talk about the effects of media conglomeration, where you now have big media entities owning a string of media outlets. You have one media group, like Nation Media Group, Vision Group, owning radios, television stations, newspapers, etc. Now, these new developments have come with many advantages to the industry. Developments have also come with quite a number of challenges. For example, because of this media conglomeration, in many media houses, reporters and editors have been laid off, because today, in big conglomerates, one reporter is going to be required to produce a story for multiple platforms. You should be able to write a story for the newspaper, a story for the online platform, a story for radio, and a story for TV. Now, in the past, those would be for job opportunities. As we speak today, it is one person supposed to play all those roles. So what does this mean? That it is only those that have been able to acquire the latest skills and multiple skills that are going to be able to survive in today's media world. I'm talking about the environment even before the pandemic, and it is the new normal. So you need multiple skills, whether you like it or not. But at the same time, those developments have reduced the number of opportunities that we have in the media organizations. So it becomes a huge challenge for us. Now, when we come to the pandemic and its effects, certainly across the globe, many nation states and governments have come up with standard operating procedures. They've been given different names in different countries. But at the end of the day, they are specific restrictions meant to curtail the spread of the deadly disease. However, These restrictions have also affected the industry in many ways. For example, when we talk about people like you are about to leave school and start looking for jobs, one of the best ways usually for people to be employed is through internships. In fact, in the university like yours, usually in the third year, students are required to go and intern. Now, this serves many purposes. One, for you as students to be able to practice what you've studied in class, to implement the theories, to challenge the theories that you have studied. Because that's what a university is supposed to do. You've also have the duty to challenge the theories that you've studied when you get to practice. But also, internship offers you an opportunity to showcase your skills so that probable employers can employ you. Many successful journalists locally and world over have been employed. I mean, their first employers are the media outlets where they interned when they were still students. I mean, I'm a living example that the radio station where I interned offered me a job without applying for it. Because after my internship, I said goodbye. Then the editor calls me and says, you know what? We have a job opportunity here for you. How did I get that job? It's because while interning, I was able to showcase the skills that I had. And the media house needed those skills. So that's how I got my first job. And I know many journalists, locally and internationally, who have been employed through that route. Now, unfortunately, because of the challenges of last year and this year, and we don't know when this is about to end, because as we speak, less than 1 million people have been vaccinated in Uganda, yet the target is to vaccinate about 22 million people. So we don't know how long it is going to take to vaccinate a sizable number that would enable us to go back to our normal activities. So we don't know how long it's going to take. Yet, because of these restrictions, because of these challenges, many media houses have suspended internship programs. So it means that definitely upcoming journalists have lost this opportunity. And I have told you the many advantages, the purposes of these internships. It's not just for you to go there and we award you marks when we come to supervise. You know, there are quite a number of advantages. One of them being that you're able to showcase your abilities, your skills, but also you're able to implement and practice the theories that you've learned in school. The other challenge of this pandemic is that it has compelled media houses to lay off their staff. And it's quite understandable because many media organizations have lost out on their income. The advertisers, majority of them, have either halved their advertising budgets, while others have completely suspended advertising. And what does that mean? We know pretty well that advertising is the lifeblood, is the life stream of a media industry, especially those operating on a commercial basis. That's how they get money to be able to fund their activities. So once that source of revenue is affected, it means the media houses are also going to reduce the number of employees. So they're going to look around and find one person who can be able to play one or two roles. That one will be retained. Then the others that can't play more than one role will be laid off. Now just imagine if a media house is laying off its experienced personnel, how about you who is just leaving school? It becomes a very serious challenge. Then it is also important for upcoming journalists or people who are starting their career in this industry to network physically. Very important. However, as we speak, the social distancing rules do not allow you to do that. Do not allow you to take part in conferences. Do not allow you to job shadow in organizations where you can share experiences with people who have been in the industry for long. I can assure you there is nothing that you can substitute with experience. The last 15 years I have been practicing journalism. There are so many things that I have learned along the way from people who have been in the industry longer than me. Because there are times as you pursue a story, as you pursue an idea, you think you've hit a dead end because of your limited experience. But as you discuss with somebody who has been in the industry longer than you, you're able to learn that probably where you think that you've hit a dead end, there are many other ways that can enable you to overcome that challenge. Now today, it's difficult to do that. You can't do that physically. So the challenges are many, and many of them have been well discussed by Mr. Robbie Muhumuza. However, it doesn't mean that the future is bleak for you, ladies and gentlemen. Despite those challenges, there are also quite a number of opportunities. The Chinese have a saying that a crisis is an opportunity riding a dangerous wind. When I'm talking about dangerous winds, I'm talking in terms of typhoons. I'm talking in terms of tornadoes. Now just imagine, those winds are very disastrous and very destructive. But the Chinese are telling you that even with those destructive winds, you can find an opportunity riding them. And if you're smart, you can seize that opportunity. So what can you do as people are starting their career, as people are about to leave school, to overcome some of these emerging challenges? One, it is important for every one of you to get vaccinated as soon as the vaccine is available to you. I know as we speak, we've run out of stock as a country. The Ministry of Health has confirmed, but I'm certain in the near future, we're going to have vaccines. So once they are available, make sure that you are among the first to be vaccinated, because don't be derailed by the many conspiracy theories that you're reading. Ensure that you're vaccinated, because whether you like it or not, we are going to live with this disease for many years. So the solution is in the vaccine. In fact, I've listened to spokespersons of some of these big manufacturers of vaccines saying that they hope to continue making money out of this venture in the next 15 to 20 years. So at the end of the day, even when everything, even when we get to a point where everything seems to have normalized, we will still need these vaccines for people to be vaccinated, because we know even before this new pandemic, people have been taking vaccines for flu, especially in the advanced world. As we grow up, as kids, we vaccinated against many deadly diseases. So the manufacturers of these vaccines are telling us that even when we move away from this level of a pandemic, people will still need these vaccines. So what does that mean? It certainly means that this is the new normal. So if you want to get back to your normal activities as a journalist, as a communicator, you need to be among the first to be vaccinated so that you can resume your activities. That's very important. Now, 2, in this environment where many of us have been compelled to stay in our homes, we can use new technologies to tell our stories. We can use YouTube, we can use blogs, we can use Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, not just for jokes and fun, but to tell stories. And we tell stories in a professional manner. There are quite a number of advantages with this format. 1, it can become a source of employment. You employ yourself. In fact, today, I know many reporters who earn more from these social networking sites. They earn more than what they earn from their primary employers. So somebody is employed by a media house, traditional media house, but at the same time is running an online site where they publish their stories. But when you sit down with them, many of them will tell you that this new media platform offers me more income than my primary employer. So it can be a source of employment. But 2, even if it doesn't become a source of employment, the moment you upload content, you upload stories that are well produced, that have a very big audience, even employers in the traditional media will look for you. Now, once they look for you, you are at an advantage, because first, you have the negotiating power to say, these are my terms if I'm to work with you. I need to have time to continue doing what I do on this project of mine where you found me. But you can also agree with them that, you know what, if I'm to work with you, every product that I produce on your station, for every product I produce on your station, we've got to have an agreed share. That once it is produced on your TV or radio, allow me the liberty to also produce or publish that same content on my other channels. So because they came looking for you, you have the latitude to make these arguments. You have the latitude to make these arguments. So you can easily get employed because of the work you've been doing on these new media platforms. But at the same time, besides the employment, you can also name your price. Beyond naming your price, you also have the bargaining power to tell them how you want your content to be used and how much they should exploit your content. Because you see, under normal corporate laws in Uganda, if a media house employs you and you do not have these express agreements, it owns everything that you have produced. But now, if you have started your own private channels, it means, and it's the reason as to why they've looked for you, it means you have the ability to negotiate. So instead of wasting time on these channels just chatting and producing unprofessional content, forwarding rumors, please use these platforms to do a professional job and tell stories professionally. Next is that you can use the online platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and others, to also network, because you see, I told you earlier on that one of the challenges you're facing as upcoming journalists, especially in the pandemic, is that you have no opportunity to physically network with professionals who can teach you quite a number of things in the industry. So in the absence of that opportunity, can't you use the new platforms that you have to look for prominent people in the industry? Can't you network with the professionals locally, regional, and internationally? Follow them on Twitter. Ask them questions, they will be able to respond to you. In fact, in this environment, you even have a much better opportunity to network with more people than in the traditional setting. So that's the opportunity we are talking about. As the Chinese defined it, that a crisis is an opportunity riding a dangerous wind. So here you have the opportunity to network with many more people, many more professionals than in the traditional format. Now, besides the direct networks, the networking on Twitter, Facebook, and other platforms, take time to read autobiographies of people who have succeeded in this industry. It will fill the other gap I talked about at the beginning, where you can't physically engage with successful professionals because of the lockdown measures. Read autobiographies of prominent journalists here, prominent journalists in the region, people like Jeff Koinange in Kenya. He wrote a very good book about his life as a journalist. You can read autobiographies of people who have succeeded in this industry as communication specialists, as journalists, people like Shaka Sali, our own, who has just retired from the Voice of America television, Larry King, Christiana Mompua, and many others. These prominent journalists have written autobiographies. There are many interviews and profiles written about them, even those that haven't published these autobiographies. Read their stories, read their stories. There are many lessons you're going to learn along the way. Where they made mistakes, learn how to avoid them. That's how we learn from literature. It's not good for you to make the very same mistakes your predecessors made if you have the opportunity to learn about those mistakes. So use this time to read, use this time to read, not just to sleep. Then, a lot of research in the last 1.5 years has also shown that many more people are returning to traditional media, are returning to professional reporters as a result of this pandemic. Because you see, when it broke out in this digitalized environment, everybody became an authority on the subject. Everybody became an authority on the subject. So the population got confused globally. So in the midst of that confusion, the population remembered that there is a fallback position. The traditional media, the professional reporters, who have a fine gatekeeping process, which will sieve stories, which will be responsible in the publication of stories. So we've got to seize this opportunity. I'm telling you, a lot of research has shown, locally here and internationally, that after people reading and listening to conspiracy theories in the social media, they want to listen to a news bulletin on radio, on TV. They want to read from a professional website of a newspaper to confirm the theories that they've listened to. So we have got to seize that opportunity, that if you run a YouTube channel, if you start a blog, like Robbie has advised you, make sure that the content you put there is professionally produced, so that the audience is able to draw a distinction between content produced by professionals and the content produced by ordinary netizens, the people on the internet, because that's what the population is now looking for. After reading the conspiracy theories on Facebook and everywhere, people come back to us to confirm. So do not insult the intelligence of the population that trusts you by again peddling lies like anybody else, like the non-professionals. So we can use the changing environment to improve our skills, to produce much better content that would enable us to survive in this changing world. Because whether we like it or not, the environment has changed and it's never going to be the same again. However, it is those people that are able to acquire the latest skills. It is those people who are able to know the new demands that are going to survive. We shouldn't be like the people who collapsed as a result of the Industrial Revolution. We shouldn't be like the people who collapsed when the information age set in. We should be the people who are going to conquer the new world. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor, for that wonderful kind of leadership.
And thank you very much, Doctor, for sharing with us, for enlightening us with your insightful knowledge. I personally have picked up a lot, especially on the fact of getting vaccinated. I was feeling very discouraged on getting the vaccination, having learned that people are being injected with aquasipi. It was quite discouraging. But now, given that an opinion leader has shared that it's advisable to get it, then, it gives you that extra push to feel like, you should do something about it. Then I've also learned that we should use the new technologies to tell our stories. Now that we can't do it the conventional way, let's use what we have to make the best of it. The way we could have had this in another way, but given the lockdown, we are using this platform to be able to still have impact in society and continue with what we're doing. And then I also learned that we should read and not get tired of reading, especially from people who are where we want to be. And last but not least, you've encouraged us to use the lockdown to polish on our skills, not to just sit down and crumble like the people in the Industrial Revolution, but take up this opportunity to better ourselves so that when the lockdown is put to one end, we hit the road running. Thank you very much, Doctor. I've picked a lot, and I believe the rest have picked a lot as well. Without further ado, Yes. And as I told you guys, these are people who have been in the system, they know what they're doing, and they're shedding a path for us. We don't have to make the same mistakes when people who have been ahead of us have ably shared with us. We don't take this opportunity for granted. So guys, let's take on this information and use it to the best of our abilities. Without saying too much, allow us to invite our final panelist, Arinda Kenan, who's a fellow student, who's having his ongoing BA in mass communication. As Gloria had earlier informed us, Madame Irene lost her mother. She was supposed to be tackling the area that comes with the psychological bit of it, the anxiety and whatnot. But unfortunately, I don't think she'll be joining us, but she'll be sharing her presentation, which we shall endeavor to send out by email and all other platforms necessary so that you can be able to get her presentation since she's not able to be with us. Let's have her in spirit and pray for her. Arinda Kenan, if you're on, please take the floor. We're happy to hear from you and get a student's perspective on how things have been so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marvin. It's definitely a pleasure to be here, and at least there's a lot of wisdom. Definitely a student, as Marvin has introduced. However, it might also be important to put a digital influencer focusing mainly on Twitter. And so I will be presenting from that perspective is that I am a student who is finishing up in mass communication, but I am already engaging on social media, marketing, social media influence, being personnel in the media industry, really. So I shan't waste so much time re-echoing what the other panelists have said because they have put it out very well. However, I will now talk about how to get started because we have looked at the fact that social media right now, the new media as we call it, is an inevitable part of the world where we are going. It is unavoidable. And so when you run away from it, the best is that you embrace it and that you join in correctly. Now, we already heard that there is something called a social media or a digital footprint. That is everything you do, everything you say on the internet is going to be remembered and it cannot be erased. We've also had the fact that right now, people are coming to social media to find the information, but they want to rely on trustworthy and authoritative voices for what is truth to set it apart from the lies. So now that we know the question is how we actually get into this world. The mistake that many of us made when social media had just started out is we were excited. For the majority of the people that are listening in today, we were probably very young. And so we jumped on with that young excitement and we created a very messy digital footprint. But it's not the end. Not too late because a footprint might never be erased, but
I think Kenan is having trouble with his network. Let's give him some time to be able to stabilize. In the meantime, maybe if we can have one question from the chat box answered by one of the panelists, as we give him enough time to settle down his network. Martha, if you can please read out one of the questions in the chat box so that we try to use our time profitably.
I think Martha has a problem. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Mary.
Okay, the first question was from Dr. Sarah. She said, I can say that now, more than ever, the idea that information is both a public good and an economic commodity. Is the information society finally taking off in Uganda? This question, I think, was directed towards Mr. Muhumuza. Would he like to answer? Dr. Muhumuza?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Sarah Namsuga, for that question. Yes, the information society has been slowly coming here, and we've had some challenges as a nation in terms of investments. The cost of internet has been expensive, but with the advent of cheap phones from China, the social media is now available even in remote areas. We have a good network. Almost every part of Uganda is reached by one of the networks. So even when you are country, you are really based, you can have access to network for data. We have a good electricity network, or we also have solar powered phones, so that those who are based up country who may not be on the national grid can also access. Yes, we have more and more people, and as people get locked down, they can't access churches. They can't go to church on Sunday. A number of churches, even pastors who were never on social media, have started, and they've encouraged their members. So we have had more people exposed as a result of COVID-19, and they start by needing public information. As I said, they want to know about their health. They want to know about COVID-19. They want to know about the treatments, the various treatments, vaccinations, who has died. We now have Zoom barriers for who can travel. It's become a public good in Uganda. But even those who are doing media for business, the newspapers, and looking for ways of digitizing online newspapers. So even online is a tool for monetization. Those who are on YouTube, they are looking for having many people who are viewing them so that they can be considered influencers, and YouTube would have adverts on their YouTube channels. It's true, yes, we are much, much more advanced in terms of the information society than we were before. And I think even after COVID-19 has slowed down, we will not be looking back. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope Dr. Sarah's question has been answered. Another question was,
excuse me,
in order to, yes,
excuse
please.
me. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Mary, but Kenan seems to be back on, so we shall get to the question session later.
Okay.
Sorry for the interruption. As well, Madam Irene is joining us. She's on. So let's give Kenan some few minutes to finish his presentation. Then Madam Irene will also speak to us very briefly before we can go into the question Q&A session. So Kenan, the floor is yours.
All right, sorry.
And then Madam Irene will speak.
Sorry about that. My network had gotten some issues. So I was talking about the fact that we can look at social media and the digital world as a space. So we already know that it was hard enough to break into the traditional media space because there were a lot of experienced journalists in the newsroom. And you can imagine someone that has been there for 15 years and you've just finished school and you want to come and take such a person's job. It was really difficult. And the only opportunity perhaps that you had is, as Dr. Sam said, get an internship there, show what you can do, and the media house will say, okay, we are willing to keep this person, or even add just a little bit of training and give them that space. But it was really hard to break into it. Now, social media is, I would say, even worse, because it is true that anyone and everyone can join the social media space, can contribute to the social media space. But that is both the advantage and the disadvantage, because for you to get onto that overcrowded space and be able to just squeeze in is way harder. People do not trust everything that they are reading because there is so many lies out there. People already have personalities that they believe in. So as a person who is starting out, to jump into that space is absolutely difficult. And so it's important for you to know that if you're going to get onto such a space, you cannot just dive in and do what everyone else is doing. And that's the mistake that I've seen many of my colleagues do. We know that YouTubers are there, they are doing videos. And so each one is coming up with an idea and say, I want to do a YouTube video. And that's where the idea stops. They just know that they want to do a YouTube video. You don't realize that there's hundreds more people that are starting YouTube channels at the same time that you are. So what is going to set you apart? What is going to be that difference? Why should I, for instance, neglect the YouTube channels that I have already subscribed to and subscribe to yours? The same applies to Facebook. You've opened a Facebook account, you're geared up, you've just come from this webinar and you say, I'm ready to take on the Facebook space and I'm going to be influential there and I'm going to be professional. Good. But what different thing are you going to bring on board? Why should people be able to follow you? And so your uniqueness is going to be something important for you to think about as you decide to take on such a journey. You need to think about what will set you apart. Secondly is you need to be researched, because social media is a place where people are chatting, people are commenting all the time. People are just saying what comes to their head whenever it comes to their head. And that is not enough to make people take you seriously. You have to research, and research. Anything and everything that you involve yourself in will be part of your digital footprint. And so people need to see that even something as slight as a comment, you might just take it lightly and say, I'm simply commenting on someone's post, but it is unresearched, it's a lie, it's either disinformation or misinformation. All of that is going to affect you. So after deciding what your uniqueness is, deciding what you're going to put out there as your brand and develop, you need to be able to research into that conversation. Now, there's something called clout on social media, which is people engaging, to kind of simplify it, it is people engaging on conversations that are not directly related to their brand. That's as simply as I can try to put it. So say, for instance, you are going to try and be a student journalist that is using Twitter as your platform. That is a brand that you're trying to grow. But there are all sorts of trends that will keep coming up. And the mistake that many people make is you just jump onto that conversation simply because it is trending or it is funny to you or something like that. And so one day people are seeing you're posting 100 people have been confirmed to have taken water as a vaccine. And people are like, oh, okay. And they're getting news from you. The next day, you're engaging in someone's nudes have been leaked and you're commenting and laughing and all these things. You're joining in on the clout and it's destroying your image. You need to watch out for that. So the problem that people here face is they want those quick results. We want those quick results. We're all out there looking for the numbers, for the likes. And most times the approaches that we take get us quick likes, but they get us limited number of likes, limited number of followers. Because the example that I normally give people is you have maybe a young girl in her like 23 or 24 years kind of age range. She decides, I want to be on Twitter. I want to get so many followers. I want to get so many likes. And what she's going to do is she's going to begin taking these very funny videos of herself or boys. And the example that I normally give people is someone like Dr. Ruth Cheng. She probably, when she was growing up, probably didn't think so much about the fact that she would one day be such an influential people on Twitter. And to date, when she goes online and tweets something, it's to inform people. But you look at the effortless engagement, as we call it, that she gets because she has established her brand. She's an authority in her field. She's not joining follow trains. Oh, follow me, I will follow you. Some things like that just to get followers. No, she's out there to do her job. She's out there to follow her brand. And in the long run, you find that that is proper engagement. That is proper followership. But many of us want to go online and we want to just get 100 followers in a day, and we engage in things that destroy our brand. So these are some of the things that we need to look out for. The other thing is understanding your algorithm, something called listen to the former panelists. We've seen the pandemic, for instance, dangerous storm. So how do we take use of algorithms? These social networks are made of codes that help those creators of these different platforms be able to make it semi-automatic, because over 1,000 people are tweeting. So have the time to sit at his computer and keep directing those posts where they're meant to be. He creates a semi-autonomy of us to those social media platforms, and we do not want to find out how those algorithms work. So you find that you have very good information. You have decided your uniqueness, you've done your research, you are trying to keep to your brand, but you're posting things and nobody is seeing them, nobody is engaging in them. And the excuse that we normally tell ourselves is boring. Yeah, there is that, but if you're misusing the application, then even the people who would have alternatively been interested in that information because they are there, how do I actually navigate that platform? Many of us in UCU, we've been running campaigns, health campaigns, and we were required to create Facebook and Twitter platforms and run those ads there. And the problem or challenge that many of us have been facing is how do we get engagement on our posts when they are about health? People don't really wake up in the morning and they want to engage on your diabetes post or something like that. But you can actually get that engagement if you take the time, the effort to learn and understand those algorithms. For instance, you cannot be posting. One day you post at midday, the next day you post at 2 a.m. when people are sleeping, the next day you post at 8 a.m. and you're wondering, why ain't people following me? They don't know how to find you. So I don't have as much time to get in depth with all of these things, but I would encourage us to read about them, find out how to actually get started, how to run these social media platforms, because they can be the difference. Dr. Sam said we do not have an opportunity now, as many opportunities to go to the newsroom and do an internship, but our internship right now is by showcasing what you can do on your social media. It's free of charge to start an application platform. You can download it free of charge. Facebook, open your platform and use that to get people to pay attention to you, to get people to see what you can do. And the last thing that I can say, that I can give as advice to everybody that would want to get into this world is start like yesterday. These things of sitting down and telling yourself, I'm going to start my YouTube channel, I'm going to start it next week, or I'm going to start it next month. Trust me, you will keep procrastinating and you will never do it. And so understanding and knowing it's okay to make mistakes, and that's how you will grow and learn, is the reason why I will say start like yesterday. Start it up. Look out for people that are already doing it, people, the digital influencers like myself and even others. We will help. We will be able to give the knowledge, the mistakes we made, the things we're still learning, share with you. So get started yesterday, but watch what you put online, because it will affect you years and years to come. Yeah, so that's what I can say. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you very much, Kenan, for sharing with us. At such a young age, before stepping out, you already have so much to offer. I believe we just need to start up, what would I call it? A mentorship program. And I think I'll be the first person to sign up, because I believe there's so much you have to share with us and we have to start like yesterday. What I've picked for me is that branding yourself is very important, not just on social media. Who you represent and what you represent will have a big impact on the impression you'll have on people on social media. Be unique, stand out, and pre-plan how you're going to approach social media. It's not just a haphazard thing of do this, do that. Everything should be researched, because people are educated and they want to find out what is true and what is false. And last but not least, consistency is very important. Thank you very much, Kenan, for sharing with us. We are happy to inform you that Madame Irene has been able to join us. So given her circumstance, she will share with us very briefly. And Madame Irene, our condolences on behalf of my group and everyone who has attended here. Our condolences about the death of your father. May God strengthen you and the family. Thank you very much for still being able to make it. You can share with us briefly, and then we can get into the question and answer session. I'm kindly reminding you that type your questions in the chat box, and please specify who the questions are directed to. Thank you very much, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. Madame Irene, you can please take the floor.
Good evening to all of us. I'm happy to be part of this group, and for the fact that I've managed to make it to this group at this time. I'll have something small to share. They have told you what I'm going through. At least I've gotten some place to hide, and I hope I'll be able to get the network. I'm operating from the United States of Busia, and I hope we are understanding each other. Now, the previous speaker, I just got a little bit of him, and he has actually made my work very easy, because he has actually done what I was supposed to do. And I'm so grateful to you, my brother, because you knew that I would not be able to do that perfectly. Now, anxiety is something that happens at all times, at all stages. We used to have a spiritual leader who would say we get worried at all stages. Get worried, will I get married? When you get married, you say, will I give birth? Will my child walk? Will my child get married? Will my child give birth? So anxiety tends to be be part of life, yet it is not something very good when it overtakes us. But it is just body's natural response to stress, feeling of fear about especially a future situation. For this time, we are especially looking at a future situation. We have been at school, and while you're at school, I've been at school before, and while you're at school, things are easy. This is you are a child, even after your third year, you are a child, people are still giving you money. They find you, they give you pocket money. I think I used to enjoy that. I will share giving a little bit of my own experience. My first training was that of a grade 3 teacher. And as I was training during that time, I would come home and there was everything. The neighbors would give soap and soap and soap and soap. But after I started looking for schools, started wanting to be like so and so. So the anxieties are always there, but my issue is what I like to say is that while the anxieties come in, we need to be to build a confidence, because there's a time that is coming and there's no more pocket money, no more visits, no more support, and you are also anxious about, maybe I'm the firstborn, I need to support. Maybe I've been in school, they are expectations from parents. They are saying it's now you're gone, so which anxious about how I'm making it. Some of us, when we come to university, even the language changes. Some are at campus, and now because you are at campus, when you're done, the anxieties will come in. But just like my brothers and sisters have already shared, when we get out of campus, one thing that I always encourage people is that be the best you can be the best. We are saying during this mental health, yourself, learn more, distinguish yourself. You may have a chance to do internship. Maybe some of us are already doing internship. I've got, I think, even my previous job was because of internship. Be the best you can be during that place. And sometimes it is worse. I remember when I was doing my internship for a master's degree, my supervisor had a diploma and he had to show me that he was my supervisor. But what did I want? I wanted to learn. So I chose to be the best with a lot of humility, with a lot of stewardship, trying to do the best that I could do. In this era, the computer affect your computer, volunteer, please do as much as you can. As much as you can, despite the fact that you may not be earning anything. There are many platforms for us. We could choose to engage on every platform. There's something that you can get. Mr. Google is important, but of course you need to work with Mr. Google with further consultation. You cannot be the best of yourself without putting in extra work, extra energy. It's very important that we put in extra energy to be the best version. Don't worry about how much you're earning and how much other people are earning. Many cases when you are a volunteer, you do actually much more work. But the more work I have done in my experience, the more my chance that we do the best we can do version of ourselves. Encouraging people, pray, give thanks, great. There are many people who have not finished. So give thanks to the Lord. Start at that. Lord, I'm grateful that I have a degree. Now, this is what I want to do. As you pray, your hope will increase. Maybe your trust in God will increase, and then your people think else that thing is very key. Looked at the platform, there are so many people as we are being supervised, but we are just wondering, when will I be done with this professor? This professor is a very, very good research. Just as the moderator was saying, think of that person who is going to mentor you, give you a clue about the opportunity. Not good to do that, but not also bad for you to learn what is better. How can I work better? Do not work alone. Please network. Networking is very, very important. I also want to encourage us to be focused. Many times I've talked to third-year students and you tell them what I am not, can be a PI, can be, but when you look at what they want to be, it is not very easy. So let us be focused right from the beginning. Maybe you came in for the course for your father, but after some time you got interest. It's also important to know what do you want to be. Many times we find people coming to organizations to look for jobs and say, what do you want to do? Anything, manager. What is, may we be focused? It is very, very urge us to seek counsel, seek mentorship, have someone you look up to. There's someone that is doing something good. Many times this might be your religious leader, maybe your friend at school, maybe the better person, someone who has bettered something, maybe a counselor. Let them be mentorship as you enter, we graduate one day, because there's some concept that you have grasped. Accept to work under someone. And I'm saying there are times when you can be mentored by someone when you have not reached them. But also it is much better for you to look out for someone. There are people who are very good, who are professionals. Reach out to them and ask them, can I work with you? I do not know much about the ethics of mass comm, but with us, our ethics is that every counselor must have a counselor, such that there's someone you can talk to, there's someone you can share your successes with, and your, in quotes, maybe silly mistakes that you have made, and they will be open to receiving you. So please do not walk alone. Work with a mentor. And when I talk of a mentor, I'm talking of someone who is better experienced. But I'm also encouraging us to work as a team. Don't go out and because you are the one who had a first class, you're working alone. Yes, it was okay when you were at school, but when there's a chance for you to work with someone, that is very, very great. But also remember what I said in the beginning, as you distinguish yourself, as you target, without a goal, you will fall. Have a goal well set, well explained, have somewhere that you are going. There's a good saying in Uganda which says, Atalina jalaga tabula, that when you do not have anywhere where you're going, you don't get lost. After all, where were you going? So I want to ask that we also use our time very well. All of us have 24 hours, but it depends what I use my time for. We enjoy talking, we enjoy calling, but and we set a pace. Maybe you'd say, I take 2 hours a day building myself professionally. That is how we use our time well. It doesn't matter whether you have a job already, whether you do not have a job, you can still use your time very, very well. You can actually go out there and find out that you wanted to be a PRO. You can't actually be a PRO, but you can be someone else because there's someone who is supporting you. So friends, I want to urge us, let's use our time well. Good time management is going to include the time we use for research, the time we use for innovation, the time we use for consultation, the time we use for mentorship. Actually, the things I'm talking about may just need 5 or your former lecturer about something. We do not consult about everything, but remember, your goal is to improve yourself, and you can only do that when we prioritize. Use your time well, set priorities, do everything, but make sure that there is a priority. So to say that it's important is anxiety, let's be positive. There might be something coming in. I've seen people enter organizations as cleaners, in as small as a cleaner, and then you grow. You grow, enter there. I've seen interview panels where someone is asked, what do you want to be in 5 years? And that was very good. But you may have that opportunity will fall, and then this messenger, this office assistant is raised to an administrative assistant and maybe a news editor and maybe something like that. Why? Because you are positive. Take small steps. You cannot take small steps when you are not positive. Take small steps, start with what you can start with, be positive in your actions, watch out for any negative thoughts that come through. When negative thoughts come through, just make sure they are not taking you anywhere, but choose to be positive. It means you're positive, you are going to be very, very helpful to the community and also others. And in that line, let's avoid competition. I want to be like Mavian. I want to be like Gloria. Yes, Gloria is Gloria. Mavian is Mavian. You are unique, unique abilities and unique assignments for you here on earth. So I want to ask that we don't, it's okay to learn from others, but don't compete so much, because when we compete, then it means that we are going to try to do things we are not supposed to do. And so we are going to fail and get frustrated, and it will intensify our anxiety into generalized order. Yes? Okay. Hello? So let us try as much as possible to be your own brand, build it, but under someone, grow under someone. Identify your anxieties and talk to someone, and so you are going to grow that way. I've already talked about teamwork, learn from others, especially the seniors, doing what you want to do. And above all, I want to ask that we be professional. Every profession has ethical standards. Be ethical. Many times I've seen people take my stories and they tell lies in the newspapers. And for some of us who read newspapers, you have seen lies. Don't tell lies. Your career is something that can grow, but be the best. I don't know much about your. What I would do, I would ask is that things which can sell, but I would be really, really encouraged that for you to take major stories, be professional, do the things that take out some stories. Maybe it's an advert. Someone wants to look good, and everyone looks the way they look. Then you take my angry hour, and then that is what you publish. Yet it is an advert. So let us be. Make sure that we are professional, that we respect clients, and we do the best. Are very respectful to community, or those stories which come out. And I want to ask, maybe my background, I want this to be very difficult. So be professional, as I complete, I want to say that yes, and learn to accept mistakes. It is very important that you accept mistakes, and what happens from mistakes, learn from them. We do not ask why me, but what do I learn from what has happened? Yeah, what do I learn? Some of us resign a lot. Don't resign a lot. Be persistent, be persevering, such that you can be able to learn how to grow and how to be strong. There are many times when we get issues as journalists, as media people, and then we keep grudges. When you keep grudges, you don't grow. So we forgive, and as long as we are able to move on, let us move on. Friends, I want to say thank you so much. I can't move any longer because of the situation around. I'm very sorry, but I want to say just otherwise out there, things are very
Thank you very much.
possible. Things are very situation. You are going out normal. Be there.
Thank you very much, Madam Irene, for that passionate and insightful presentation. I really commend you. You are very resilient given the circumstance. And I believe that's a lesson that we also need to pick, that in this situation, however hard it is, we have to be resilient. I've learned that we should not despise humble beginnings. We should seek mentorship and always be positive. So in the interest of time, because timekeeping is also a very important virtue that we need to embrace as we're going into this media environment, in the interest of time, we shall have 3 questions, and I'm handing over to one of my group mates to handle the Q&A session. This is a kind reminder that we are working as a group to have this webinar in place, and me and Gloria are 1 out of 7 people who have been making sure that this goes as smoothly as possible, and I would like to thank them for the work so far. So Martha, I'm handing over to you, and I'm requesting that the panelists, you try to approach these questions as briefly as possible so that we can be able to beat our target of 5 p.m. Thank you very much. Martha, over to you.
Thank you everyone. So we shall start with Kawajara's question. She says, in order to read, we as a nation have to improve our reading culture. Are there ways to improve one's reading culture? And this is directed to Dr. Kazibwe Sam. Then we have another one from Timothy Chisule. He says, how should the COVID-19 situation influence the decision to pursue postgraduate studies? Then that's directed to also Dr. Kazibwe Sam. Then we have, how does one request someone to be a mentor? That's for Madam Irene. Thank you.
Allow me to pass on my question to Mr. Robbie Muhumuza as well, so that we just have the response session once. My question to him is, you advised us to take on internship, and as internship is important, many a times, many people who are owning organizations take advantage of people who are new in the field, and they exploit you. They don't want to pay you or give you allowances, but they want you to really work so hard for them. So in the interest of knowing that we have to be humble and be ready to learn from humble beginnings, and also knowing your worth and knowing that you have skills and these skills should be rewarded. How do you draw the line between those two situations, knowing my worth and knowing that I'm being exploited, so I need to exit this kind of environment, and knowing that you have to be humble? That goes out to Mr. Robbie Muhumuza. Thank you.
Do you, in what order do you want the questions answered? Do you want to start with the last question or the first question? Sorry.
I think we go in the order of how the questions were answered.
Okay, let me go right away. The first two questions were mine. The first question related to the reading culture, which is poor. I agree with you. The problem is largely because of our education system, right through the high schools you've gone to. You've been encouraged to read from pamphlets, and it has affected the majority of you. But what I'm here to tell you is that the reading culture is both inborn and it can also be acquired. So what you should do is to cultivate an appetite for reading. Start small. Today we're coming to 5 p.m. Have you read today's newspapers? Today you don't have to buy the printed copies, but even online, you might have spent the entire day on your phone, but without finding time to read today's dailies to know what's happening. So start small and you'll improve with time. The second one related to what postgraduate course to pursue, especially at the time of the pandemic. My advice to students who want to go back to school to upgrade is always simple. I don't encourage people to immediately go back to school after their first degree, except if you intend to pursue a purely an academic career. If you like me, who is not 100% an academic, with one leg in practice and one leg in the academia, my advice is work for at least a year. The year will help you to rediscover yourself and know the correct path to take as you choose a course to pursue for postgrad studies. Those were my questions.
Over to you. Thank you very much, Dr. Sam, for answering those questions. I believe those who have asked them have gotten their answers, and for being very brief. Mr. Robbie Muhumuza, you can take the platform, and then lastly, Madam Irene.
Thank you. The question concerns internship and exploitation when you're on internship. You know your value, but where you're interning, they're not paying you. We need to realize that internship is part of your studies. Just like you pay school fees for the semester and you pay accommodation, you pay transport, you know, when you are interning, you are still being taught. And so the organization where you've gone to intern have to create space for you. They're offering you an opportunity. They have to find you an extra desk or maybe a computer. They have to find somebody to supervise you. Whereas the person would have done their work quickly, but now they have to give you work, then go through, take more time to mentor you on how to do it well. So in a way, they are giving you a favor to give you internship. When you go, you are going there to learn. That is your main objective. You've learned theory in class. Now how do you implement it and improve on it and prove that you're able to do your job? So don't expect to be paid. If you're paid, that's an extra bonus. But when the place where you are intern, they give you assignments that require you to go into the field to do some work. You need transport. If you're going for more you need meals. If you're staying for more than 1 day, you need accommodation. Maybe you need data to send the story back. So at least they need to give you facilitation when they send you into the field. But if you're only going to the office and back, don't expect to be paid. At the end of the day, you want to learn. But also the other advantage is that if you do the job very well and you have good emotional intelligence, good relationship with colleagues, you are cooperative, you're a good learner, you've shown that you're worthwhile, there's an opportunity for getting retained there for a long time. Or when you leave, they haven't retained you, they're going to be your foremost recommender when you apply for another job. And ask you, do you have work experience? You can go back and mention the organization where you worked or your supervisor. So if you leave on bad terms, they're not going to give you good recommendation. If you leave on good terms and not quarreling over allowances and payment, they could invite you back for short-term gigs. When somebody has gone on leave, when they need an extra hand, they can call you in. So consider it a learning opportunity and pay the school fees. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robbie. Thank you very much for sharing with us and answering my question. Lastly, let's have Madam Irene answer her question, and then we can close.
I think Madam Irene may have left. I think she said bye. I doubt whether she's still there.
Okay, thank you very much for answering our questions, and thank you for sharing with us, and thank you all who have been able to start with us and finish with us. We have come to the end of this webinar, and I'm very grateful for everyone who has been able to attend. This was an internship project, and our supervisor was Dr. Napako Angela, and we have organized this webinar 7 people: Owente Kellen, Musime Martha, Kembabazi Gloria, Namatovu Jamila, Mwesije Kaitesi, Waruya Vanessa, and Kaduma Vian, who is me speaking right now. This process has included a lot, not just what we are seeing today. And I'd like to thank my teammates for being very cooperative. And I believe we've learned a lot from this experience alone. So allow me ask Dr. Sarah if she's still on to just give us some few closing remarks. And then I'm requesting Jimmy Siasa as well to give us our closing prayer, and we shall call it an evening. Dr. Sarah, sorry for the short notice, but please give us some closing remarks.
It's okay, Mavian, and I hope you can all hear me. Good evening, everyone. Congratulations to your group, Mavian, Gloria, and Kellen, and everyone else. This was a very well thought through event. I was chatting with Dr. Kazibwe and telling him that these are the kinds of things that make me proud. So allow me to say that I'm so proud of you people. This was a very enriching webinar. I'm sure that, like me, everyone who has attended has picked something that they'll find useful. I'll not add to what has been said. I agree with everything that has been said. So please take what has been said, use it, and excel. You know what my mantra is: excel, 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 excel. And excellence is different from perfection. You can look that up, but just be excellent, as all the speakers have said. So congratulations to you guys. You've really pulled this off. Great job, people. And yeah, greetings to everyone, the UCU people here. Greetings to you all. May God bless you. All the best as you wind up your academics at UCU. It was nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Bye.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sarah. Jimmy Siasa, if you're on, please give us a closing prayer, and then we can come to an end.
Hello, I hope I am heard.
Yes, we can hear you, Jimmy.
Okay, great. Let us pray. Father God, thank you for the gift of life, and thank you for preserving each of the members that have managed to make it for this Zoom. Thank you for the people that you've caused to go ahead and excel in these different fields that many of us are preparing to join, and some have joined and others are hoping to join. Thank you for Dr. Sam. Thank you for Mr. Robbie Muhumza. Thank you for Dr. Sarah, Dr. Angela, and the students that have been doing this training. It's been great. And you have made this possible because you've given the different panelists good health and kept them in shape to be able to attend. Lord, I pray that breath has not been wasted here, that time has not been wasted, but that the things that have been learned are going to be put into practice, that at the end of it all this will not be for personal enrichment, but all the knowledge that we are gathering will be used to the service of the societies that we are in and even the world beyond. We'll bless you, and may you continue to preserve us, and may you continue to guide us in wisdom to live out the very best of the life that you have gifted us. All this I have prayed in the mighty name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much for being with us, for taking this chance to participate and join us, if given these very hard and unprecedented times. Thank you to my team members, and in the spirit of being proactive, we're sharing this video on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, all social media platforms available. We shall be sharing the information, but we're going to share this recording there so that it can continue to spread, and the information we've been able to gain here doesn't just stay here, but reaches out to a bigger crowd, and also to improve our digital footprint, as Kenan said earlier. So we've come to the end of our meeting. Thank you for being with us. God bless you. Have a blessed evening.
Welcome back, Bishop.